Alright, you've heard of the Asch experiment plenty of times. This idea that there was an experiment decades ago which proved that humans are basically like sheep and that they conform to the group consensus. The question is, have you ever looked into the story further to see if it's actually based on real science? Well, in this video, we're going to take a quick look at the science, the so-called science, that underpins the Asch experiment. And what we're going to find is that while the results may be correct, the experiment itself may in fact be a hoax, and this is important to all people who care about the truth, which funnily enough, everybody claims to care about the truth, but how many people are willing to change their mind when the evidence goes against their opinion? Well, we're about to find out. So you've heard of the Asch experiments, we've got the video on our screen here, and the basic idea is that you show someone a line on the wall, and you have a bunch of actors pretend that they believe that the line matches a different line, and then you see, will this person give the correct answer, or will he give me the incorrect answer? Can he be independent from the group? And so the idea is that most of these people are actors, but there's one guy in the middle who thinks they're telling the truth. They give incorrect answers to the quiz, and then he either gives the correct answer, or he goes with the crowd and gives the incorrect answer. And of course, the story is that a lot of the time, the person, the subject who's being experimented on, will give the incorrect answer, either because he can't see the correct answer, or because he can see it, but he just doesn't want to go against the crowd. So you are familiar with the Asch experiment idea. Here's the first problem. This video is in fact a hoax. Look at this.
A volunteer is told that he's taking part in a visual perception test. What he doesn't know is that the other participants are actors.
Okay, they say that the other participants are actors. These people are all actors. This video is not from the original Asch experiment. I don't know what this video is from, but for a start, it's not from the 1950s. Look at their clothing, look at their hair. This isn't the 1950s. It's the 1960s at the earliest, maybe even the 1970s, I don't know. But this is not from the original Asch experiment. The original Asch experiment is from 1955. That's right, the middle of the 1950s. And if I'm breaking some copyright rule by showing this on screen, Scientific American, well, take it up with my lawyers. This is the actual experiment paper, which you can find if you Google it. And if you read through it, the actual experiment, rather than just believing some bullshit video or bullshit conspiracy videos, you will see that the actual experiment is very different to what is portrayed in this video and by all of the subsequent videos on YouTube that talk about it. So first things first, this is not the real experiment, and if it was, it would show just how unscientific this experiment is to have all of these cameras placed around these actors in different places. Look, we've got a camera here behind this guy, got a camera here, there. How many cameras in the room? They're doing different takes, okay? This is fake. This is not a real experiment. This is a recreation, this particular video. That doesn't mean the actual Asch experiments are fake. It just means that what you've been shown is in fact a hoax. It's a deception. It's not real. Now let's look at the Asch experiment itself. And again, this is from the original Scientific American paper from the 1950s. And I've read through it because that's what real research is all about, is actually doing the background research. Here's the first thing I noticed when I was reading through this. Firstly, it's nothing like a modern scientific paper. In a modern scientific paper, you have a thing we call a methodology. Where's the methodology in this? They don't even separate it, right? It's just like one big child's essay or something. So anyway, they've got images from the supposed experiment. Let's just say that these images are real, okay? This guy's meant to be the subject, right? Now, what do you notice about him? He is a dweeb compared to these guys. Let's zoom in a little bit. Dweeb, okay? You've got the two, and by the way, look, this is 1950s attire, right? This is 1970s, 1960s, 1970s, because this is fake. These images are from this seemed to me like the 1950s, okay? So this seems more legitimate right off the bat. Now these could be real photos, it could be fake, but let's just say that the actual scientific paper does use real photos. Look at this guy, dweeb, okay? You've got the cool guy looking like the Fonz. You've got some other guy who looks like an authoritative person. The subject is a dweeb, okay? Well, dweebs are more likely to go along with whatever the big tough guys of the group say. Okay, you don't need the Asch experiments to tell you that. This looks like the kind of guy who, if someone walked up and said, "Wallet inspector," he'd be the first person to hand over his wallet. So the question is, how do they select the students to be the subject? Well, it's not explained in this so-called experiment. Not explained. There is no proper methodology. They just say that they took 127, I think, subjects. Just took them and put them in this experiment. Don't explain how they selected them. Don't explain any of that kind of stuff, okay? It's a joke. It's a complete joke. And if you read this for yourself, you'll see that. So you've got a couple of major problems here. You've got the video, which you were probably believing was real. This isn't real. This is a recreation. It's fake. The actual experiment has methodological flaws. Doesn't even really explain its methodology. It just starts crapping on. But it's a complete load of nonsense. This is meant to be the real experiment, by the way. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, oh, but JLB, I love the Asch experiments. It's an easy way for me to explain that the humans conform like sheep, and, you know, like if the Asch experiments aren't real, if I've been misled about them, then that's very upsetting because I like using the Asch experiments to justify my preconceived notions about how humans are sheep. Listen, you don't need the Asch experiments to prove that people are sheep, okay? You previously believed that this experiment showed that people will say that they see this or they see this, if that's what the group says. That's actually true, okay? The Asch experiment, the outcome of it, this idea that humans are sheep, that part is real, and I can prove it to you right now. Let's take a look at the lunar module that went to the moon. You show this to 100 people in the West today, and the majority will tell you they believe this contraption went to the moon and housed humans for a couple of days, okay? This thing. Look at this. You've got what is quite obviously aluminium foil. I mean, take a look. This is nonsense, man. You've got what is clearly aluminium foil. You've got what is clearly cardboard. You've got sticky tape, for Christ's sakes. Look at this sticky tape. Yeah? This is like a children's experiment, man. This is absolute nonsense. And this was given to the masses as a real photo from NASA of a contraption that went to the moon. And the humans, being the complete lemmings they are, to this day, they still believe it. To this day. To this day, you show the average person this image, they still believe this contraption went to the moon. They still believe that this contraption, the same contraption, went to the moon, okay? They can't see what's really going on. You don't need the Asch experiments to prove this. You can prove it yourself by using this image of the lunar module. Anybody who cannot see that this is in fact a hoax, that person can't see for themselves, okay? They are a lemming, just like the lemmings in this fake experiment. Alright, now you show the same lemmings this video of the same nonsense lunar module.
The one that landed on the moon?
They're going to say that's fake, right? Because they can see this is on a TV set. This is an admitted fake, okay? But this fake looks no more fake than the supposed real ones that the same people will tell you must be real, okay? Despite the cardboard, despite the crepe paper, aluminium foil, sticky tape, broomstick hands. I mean, this is a complete and utter joke, okay? So, the point I'm trying to make to you is, you don't need the Asch experiment to prove that the humans are lemmings and fools and act like sheep, okay? This is evident with all the nonsense that is put out to them that they believe, like the complete lemmings they are. And if you're one of the lemmings who believes that this thing actually went to the moon, then I've got some good news and some bad news for you. The bad news is that you are a lemming, you can't think for yourself. You're one of those people who sees the emperor wearing clothes. The smart person in the town is like, guys, he's not wearing clothes, you idiots, he's bare naked. You're one of the lemming masses who's like, no, he's wearing robes, man. He's wearing great robes. You can't see. Okay, that's the bad news. The good news for you is you're in the majority. The majority of people are complete lemmings, okay, all the time. And this will always be the case. And anybody who tells you otherwise is in fact a liar. This is the nature of humans today. Now you might be thinking, well, JB, if you're so smart, how are you putting your smartness into good use? I'll give you one example. About a year ago, I released a video explaining why the Bitcoin price, which at the time was going up very quickly, was about to come crashing down due to the tether problem. At the time, people laughed at me. They said, JLB, we're making all this money, we've invested in Bitcoin, and we're going to go to the moon, and it's going to be great. We're going to make all this money. And of course, they had every right to do that because the price was going up at the time. This was in November of last year. And I said, okay, maybe it will go up, I don't know, but here's the reasons why I think it's going to crash. I've been proven correct since then. I got out at the top of the market, I got my money out of Bitcoin, and I haven't suffered 80% losses that the lemming masses has suffered. People get stuck into this mania phase. They think, oh, how things are now is how things will be. Prices are going up, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get sucked into that. I'll give you one more piece of evidence here. This is the latest JLB member Discord call. I'll put a link in the info box below. Once a week on my website, johnthebond.com. We have a call and we talk about all kinds of topics. In the most recent call, we spoke about the Ron Paul revolution, memories from that, social media, what's more harmful, teaching children to believe in Santa Claus or in dinosaurs. Is there any money to be made in the contemporary conspiracy culture industry? Or would there be more money to be made in the Tibetan basket weaving forum business? All these kinds of things and more. That's what we talk about at johnthebond.com. There's no conspiratards, there's no normies, because there is a paywall to filter out all of the lemmings. Because the lemmings don't know value. Only smart people can see for value. Lemmings don't see value. If lemmings have access to an infinite supply of so-called truth on YouTube, they don't see the value of paying to get through a paywall to access the good stuff, even when it's been shown to them time and time and time again that some people can see and most people cannot. So the links are in the info box below. We'll leave it there, and until next time, you guys take care of yourselves.